Welcome to lesson 64 of Wednesdays with EWAT. Hi everyone, this is Shanti Kumaraswamy Street, your business English trainer or coach. You can choose which one to call me, from English with a Twist, also known as EWAT. This is lesson 64 and it is a beautiful afternoon. 2nd of May, I can't believe we're already in the 2nd of May, we're in the month of May 2018. So hey, it's the second time now that I've been into especially the Facebook group, so lovely to see you all here. Hi Keiko, hi, welcome back. I'm glad you could make this session too. So earlier this morning I was talking about my new business writing to fluency online program, and now I'm back for lesson 64 of the normal Wednesdays with EWAT program and series. So hi Susan, lovely to see you. I see you're watching. Now I'm just going to check my my Facebook on the desktop, and also I am ready to talk about this week's session. So we start the month of May. So I asked you in this group, in the EWAT group, in EWAT Club, the Facebook group, I ran a poll, and also on the email list about what themes you wanted to cover. And this month we have a draw, as I said to you on Monday. We have a decision between, interesting. We have a draw between decision making and negotiating. So I decided to be fair and to split the theme between decision making and negotiating. And I know Susan felt that was a fair decision. That's just another note I've just made here. Just writing something here. And so that's what we're going to be looking at in this month's theme in English with a Twist, whether it's in the blog posts, here at Wednesdays with EWAT, within the EWAT Club, and also throughout social media platforms. We'll be talking about making decisions, the decision-making process, and also negotiations and negotiating skills, and what it takes and what it means, particularly if you have to do both skills in English professionally. Right, so are we ready to go? We started the month. I started off with the first challenge of the month, and the challenge this month is split in two. So the first challenge was yesterday, and I've noticed we already have 3 people. We've got four people, Alessandra, Trisha, Keiko, and Savita, who've joined the challenge. They've taken up the challenge, and it is a worst case scenario or real life or death situations. And what decision would you make if you were placed in 5 different life or death situations? So you've taken up the challenge and you're going to be telling me. So I've created 5 scenarios and you're going to tell me what decisions you make. And then after that, we're going to talk about, after you've made your decisions, explain also to me why you made that decision, what made you decide to take that decision. And then I will share with you experts' advice on what was the right decision to take in that situation. And then you can compare how good your decision was. So it's going to be an interesting challenge. Part 2 of the challenge this month will be related to negotiations. So we'll, I hope you look forward to both challenges. But anyway, so far you're still in time to take part in this part 1 of this month's challenge on 5 worst case scenarios, real life and death situations. What would you do if you find yourself in those 5 situations? So you have until the 7th of May to complete the challenge. So, all you have to do is type in "I'm in" the comments box, and I will send you your instructions. Easy peasy. That's it. Okay, so now, if any of you know people who would really benefit from being a member of the EWAT Club, then please encourage them to join. I know Susan has some people she would love them to join, but I know maybe some of her clients are a bit against Facebook. But if you have other people who are not, then do encourage them to join. We have 3 new members who've joined this week. I will be introducing them to you. But always make sure, please, that they are business professionals, they need English for work, they use English for work, and that because of course the EWAT Club is where you are like-minded professionals are going to be sharing your ideas, your thoughts, your experiences with each other here in the club, and also taking part in the challenges. And also taking part in any programs that I might introduce, like the Business Writing to Fluency Lab that I will be launching on the 14th of May. But that's a separate story, so we'll be talking about that in a separate area. But also, if you haven't joined the English with a Twist community on email, then I would encourage you to do so. Go to englishwithatwist.com and sign up, get my guide on the 10 steps to be a better, effective communicator in English professionally. And there also you will receive my blog posts, my weekly audio blogs for those people who like to listen and also to read. Then that's where you'll get that. Hi Gabriela, hi Christina and Susan. I can see people coming in, so that's wonderful. So some of you might be still away from Labor Day celebrations. Maybe yesterday was a day off for you. Here in the UK, we have the May bank holiday, which we call a bank holiday, on Monday the 7th of May. So we don't take the 1st of May as a day off. So our long weekend is going to be coming up. So we have then Monday as a bank holiday. We call it a bank holiday because it's when the banks are officially closed. So that's it. So today I'm going to be addressing the theme of decisions. So decisions. So if you haven't taken up that challenge, I'm going to ask you, what sort of decision maker are you? Would you say you are a pretty good decision maker? Are you decisive? Do you make decisions quickly? Or are you someone who procrastinates a lot? Yeah, procrastinate sounds a long word, but are you a procrastinator? Or are you someone who, you decide on something, you make that decision pretty quickly and you go for it? So are you decisive or are you a procrastinator? Are you, I'm just writing this down so you can tell me, procrastinator. Most of us, a lot of us are procrastinators, aren't we? I know that, oh, am I writing this correctly? Oh dear, I'm so glad I've got the procrastinator. Oh, right, okay, it's telling me to, oh, I'm so glad I've got that Grammarly thing on the on my yeah, have you downloaded Grammarly, the Grammarly checker, the grammar checker and the spelling, because it double checks and tells you, flags up if you've made a mistake. Susan, you said it depends on the situation. Okay, so what sort of situation is it when you make a decision quickly? You don't sit there procrastinating about it, thinking about it, overthinking about it. So where are those situations? And where are the ones where you procrastinate a lot? So you think about it, and as we say, you overthink a situation. Because we have that, don't we? There are moments when we are very, it's a quick decision. And often we split it between simple decisions and complex situations, right? So simple situations and complex situations. Sorry that I'm getting my words in a muddle. So that all depends. Hi Gabriela, hi Chio, hi Vasiliki, I see you're joined. So glad you could make it. Thank you so much for joining into this class. Just one moment, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to just take a swip. And I also noticed that Eman joined. Sorry Eman if I didn't mention your name earlier. Yeah, so decision making, we look at how we are as decision makers. There are some decisions. Maybe, for example, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? So now that could be a difficult decision, you know, because I don't know about you. Every morning I ask my husband and we sit there, we procrastinate. I don't know, how do I feel? What do I feel like eating tonight? I'm not sure. Well, he never understands why I need to make that decision in the morning. Well, he doesn't think that I have to plan. I have to get things out of the freezer. I have to do stuff that, you know, maybe just make some preparations and think ahead. But he doesn't. He'll wait till it's 7 o'clock in the evening. Then he opens his fridge and then he just says, oh, okay, now I'm going to think about it. Susan's saying any decision that is emotional and affects others is always more difficult. Absolutely true, Susan. And of course, when we look at it in terms of business decisions that we have to make in the boardroom or anything, when it's going to affect your team, or it's also something to do with emotions, then yes, then it is going to be much more difficult to make. You know, when we look at it in terms of from a business point of view perspective, you know, you have to make difficult decisions, right? So we're looking at decisions such as maybe you have to let people off, you have to let people go, you have to make them redundant, you have to lay them off. Maybe it is a situation, or maybe you have to close down a certain part of your business, or maybe you have to tell a client that you know can no longer teach them or work with them because maybe they are not as lucrative, or maybe they're just not very reliable as clients. There's so many decisions, you know, that can be also very difficult. Thank you, Vasiliki. Pasta is always a good solution. Yes, true. But I am married to an Englishman, so after a while pasta gets to a point and then he needs his potatoes. So, you know, what can I say? Okay. So, yeah, there are lots of difficult decisions, simple decisions. And in today's lesson, I want to explore the vocabulary that we have around decisions and decision making. And this is based on a post that I wrote in 2016. And I just wanted to develop that and also discuss at the same time, you know, some issues that we have when it comes to making decisions. I like what Susan says, that the decisions that are more difficult to take or make are the ones where it's going to affect other people or where it also affects us emotionally. So, you know, we like to think that we think only with our head, but often decisions are made also with our heart. But here's the thing, I also notice, you know, many times in our businesses, I'm sure you're the same, if you have clients who have to do something, you know, where you're asking clients to make decisions, whether you're selling, you know, for example, I've got a program, an online program like I have at the moment that's going to be running, or I'm asking them to sign up to a coaching program, or whether maybe you're asking clients to buy your products, to sign up to your service, to, you know, in business, we're all doing business is all about either selling, marketing, you're getting clients and customers to buy in. So those customers actually need to make decisions. And there's so many things that can affect that decision-making process. As Susan says, it could be some, you know, it could be that the decision you're making affects other people. It could be a decision that affects you emotionally. Let me just double check here. Gabriela is saying, yes, sometimes it turns out more difficult when the decision is not related with you alone and is going to affect others. Yeah. So you're agreeing with Susan here, Gabi. And Susan's saying, do I tell someone they're doing a bad job and need to up their game, or do I wait because I don't want to hurt their feelings? Yeah, Susan, that's really interesting, right? So up their game is idiomatic expression to say that they need to improve their performance. Yeah, so that's, those are very tricky situations. And I think this has got to do with also giving feedback. I wrote a post a few months ago about how to give feedback, and in business that's one of the important things. So yes, you have to make a decision. But how do you give someone tell them to make they're doing a bad job and they need to improve, or are you afraid of hurting their feelings? It all depends, doesn't it? Because it depends on how crucial they are for the business. And if you are actually, by giving them honest and constructive feedback, will you then be helping them in their business? And so, you know, it all depends really. And feedback is a completely different situation. Different subject that we could even discuss. But yeah, people make that, they delay that decision because they're afraid of hurting people's feelings. And I think there we talk about how we can provide feedback to people. There's constructive feedback, there's destructive feedback. And so, you know, we need to say, we need to make that decision. We have to decide. Vasilik is saying, actually, decisions are filtered through emotions. The thing is that we should use polite and diplomatic vocabulary, but be clear of what we need to let them know. Otherwise, we waste the time for both of us. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you have to... the different decisions are filtered through, absolutely. So if you're going to tell someone they're doing a bad job, you need to decide how you're going to say and how you're going to sound polite and diplomatic. I've got another post that I wrote about that. And how do you tell someone in a way that is, as I say, constructive, and that's going to be helpful to them and also to you? Because, yeah, as Vasilik is also saying, is if you don't tell someone and they continue to do the wrong thing, and it's going to affect the way you do business, the way you provide a service, maybe, and you know, you're going to get complaints from customers, then you have to make that difficult decision and decide there and then that you're going to have to talk to that person. I mean, there's another thing, you know, for example, you know, when you go to a restaurant and, you know, if you're served a meal that is not satisfactory, you know, maybe it arrives, you sit there, you've been looking forward to it, and you start eating it, and maybe it is not cooked to the way you want it, or you think, well, no, hold on, this is undercooked, or this is overcooked, and I don't like it. And there's a problem here because a lot of people will, you know, especially the British, although we have changed over the time, would say, no, I don't want to create a fuss. I'm not going to say anything. But I'm always of the view that any company, any business that relies on customer service, relies on positive feedback and reviews, needs to know. If I'm your chef and I'm making a meal, I don't want you to just eat the meal, not be happy, and never come back again. I'd rather you tell me that the meal is not to your satisfaction so I can take it away, redo it, and serve you, so you go away happy customer and you are then going to recommend my restaurant. Unless I'm someone who doesn't really care and, you know, my business is something that, you know, I just want just a very fast turnover of customers, I don't care what you think, then that's fine. But if we run a business where that's important, then we need to tell people, because how is anyone going to improve if they don't know? So last week, for example, we went up to the pub and we decided to have some like hors d'oeuvres, and my husband likes whitebait, which is a type of fish. Anyway, it got served and he started eating into it and he goes, oh, this is not as crunchy, and he continued, and I said, well, no, stop there and call the waiter and just say, no, this is not cooked to the way I want it. He immediately came, not a problem, so sorry, sir, went back, came back, and it was perfect the next time around. So that they need that feedback, otherwise nobody knows. Otherwise what happens is, as customers, we don't go back, and that's terrible. It's like me running a course and you do it and then you never come back. You never, you know, I want you to become, you know, I want to develop a loyal client base. I want clients, I want good, you know, happy clients, happy learners who turn up thinking, you know, Shanti, you really did this for me. You know, I want to be able to help you achieve what you want to achieve. And if I don't get there and I don't help you to do that, I want to know why. I want to know where we could have improved, what, you know, things we're doing. I don't want you walking away muttering to yourself and thinking, well, that was a waste of time. So it's really important that we decide to do that. Vasiliki is saying, sometimes if the client, pupil, etc. is oversensitive, then parables are a very good way. Oh yeah, great. Yes, if they're yeah, oversensitive, then okay, parables are a good way of, giving examples, giving a story. Yes, I suppose it depends on also the age group, and also some of our clients. I think in a business context, when we're talking about clients, we're ordinarily talking about adults. If we're giving feedback to our employees, or we're feedback to our clients, I mean, we as some of us are teachers, and you have to give feedback to people want honesty. I think most people do want honesty. They want honest feedback, and if you do it properly, constructively, and find ways to do it, then it's great. Okay, we're moving away because we're talking a lot about feedback here. But yes, so that's a decision. You're making that difficult decision of how do I tell someone something difficult, because it's uncomfortable, right? Nobody likes to deliver bad news. And this is another post I'm sharing about how do you decide, how do you deliver bad news? How do you negotiate that? And that'll be one of the other pieces I'll be sharing this month with you, because that's also another tricky thing. And that makes us find it difficult. Yeah, adults also need parables equally. Yes, as kids. Yeah, Vasiliki, I'm sure you're right. So I'm just having a slurp of my espresso. I hope you don't mind. So, as I was saying, we're talking about decisions and the vocabulary surrounding decisions. So, I wrote this post 2 years ago, and it was very much to share the language that goes around the word decision. Of course, decision is a noun, and we often say we take decisions, we make decisions, and that's normally what we're looking at. But then there are also different ways that we can we use the language. So you decide as a verb. The verb is to decide. You decide to do something, or you decide not to do something. So, you decide to change career, or you decide not to change career. Very easy. Often, again, here we are, you have this dilemma where you don't know whether to tell someone whether they're doing well, or whether, to tell them that they're doing a bad job, or you don't know whether to tell a client that you need to say sorry, but we can't continue working with you, or whatever that is, or with a supplier, and they've been good, but times are hard, or and these sort of situations. So you can't decide, or you haven't decided. So you just can't. I can't decide whether whether to tell them now or whether to tell them later. I often have situations where one of the biggest things I find with decisions is, of course, my clients always have, they love my idea of programs, they love my coaching programs, and they'll go, yes, great idea, great. I really can't decide whether to do it now or whether to do it later, and then we come up with lots of excuses. Again, it's that decision making. It's that you're procrastinating. And this is something that I want to take up with another time. But, there's decision making in the boardroom, decision making in business. And a lot of that is also procrastination. As Susan says, that could be because it's a difficult thing. It's uncomfortable. We don't want it. It's going to be an uncomfortable exchange that you have to have, or there are difficult decisions you have to make because they're going to affect many people. Say, for example, you're making people redundant. That's a big decision. Recently in this country, we just heard that our two biggest supermarkets are merging, Sainsbury's and Asda, and they made this decision to merge. And and so far they've said there's two companies are going to run alongside. There's not going to be any job losses. Everyone's going to keep, and you're thinking, well, this is going to be really difficult, because how are they going to keep two businesses running, two similar companies, retailers, and what's the point of merging if you're not, the idea is not to be cutting costs and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. Then your difficult decisions with some businesses where they have to close down. They have to close, they go bankrupt, or they have to make a decision, that's it, we can't continue operating. So very difficult decisions. But then there are also those other decisions where they're not impossible, but we procrastinate over those decisions. And why is that? Often it's, have you had a decision where it's taken you a long time? Say, for example, you wanted to sign up to an online course or do a program or, anything. You take up a course, whether it's, oh gosh, I don't know, Taekwondo, Tai Chi. Yes, Vasiliki, we will call it Sainsda. No, they're keeping the two names apparently, so it's going to be Sainsbury's and Asda, both. So, you've decided you want to sign up to something. You think, oh, this is a great idea. And you get this email and they're saying, and they're giving you all the benefits. And you think, this is just perfect. This is just me. This is exactly what I've been looking for. Then you look at the timeline. You think, oh, okay, so you're a busy business professional, blah, blah, blah. And you start thinking, well, it's going to, it's 4 weeks. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. I must think about it. Yeah, the price is one thing, and then we start looking at, yeah, but how much time, how much will this benefit me, how much will this, and we come up with lots of reasons and excuses as to why we can't possibly do this. I've done that myself, so don't get, I am as guilty as anyone. And often when I think about why we're so afraid of making those decisions, often it's, we have to do work. We have to work at it. Yeah. So suddenly, maybe you have to take you've decided you really want to do this program, or you want to do this online program. You want to, it's going to be good for you, but you decide, well, you come up with all the excuses why you can't possibly do it, but actually what is worrying you is that you're afraid of taking that first step. Because what you see is work. I'm going to have to work at this. For example, with the EWAT club here in the Facebook group, one of the things I've said, and I would like to see eventually, and I'm giving you time, I have loved the engagement I'm seeing here. And it's been really wonderful. But what I want this community to be is a community where the business professionals are taking action. They are taking responsibility and working towards improving their own life, the English for their professional life. So developing professionally. Now, the only way you're going to do this is by doing, not just by watching, reading, listening. You've actually got to do the work. And this is where it gets really difficult for most of us, because it's easy to watch a video like this. It's easy to listen to a podcast. It's easy to read a blog post and get all the ideas and think, yeah, when I have time, I will do this. I will implement everything. Yeah, but when? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen if you don't implement it. So when are you going to implement this stuff? And why don't we implement it? Because we're scared. There's that fear factor. The fear of failure. We discussed this a lot, haven't we? The fear of failure, the fear of looking foolish, the fear of not quite finishing it. There are lots of things, and I'm sure you can share with me. Vasiliki, you're saying we have to work on our personal self-guilt trip. Yes, trap. And Susan, you're saying taking a completely different career direction. Hey, number one, I'm one of them. And I'll share with you my experience and that decision that I finally took. But I do that. I will see something and I say, yeah, this is just for me. Then I keep looking at it. Then I keep looking at it. Then I keep going back to it. I keep going back to it. And you keep going back. And what happens is it becomes overwhelm. And so that decision becomes tougher and tougher for you to take. Whereas sometimes we need to go with our gut instinct. Yeah. So this is a word we have in decision making. Do you procrastinate? Do you overthink the decision, or do you go with your gut instinct? Go with your gut instinct, because often we say the gut tells you it's a right decision. Let's go for it. Let's do it. Don't think about it, just do it. And sometimes we have to do that even for something that you think, oh goodness, but surely that's an important one. Putting aside how it's going to affect everybody else. Say, for example, a decision that's only going to affect ourselves, and it's only going to be something that is going to benefit us. It's going to develop us professionally. Why do we stop? Why do we not do it? Why do we find every excuse under the sun not to do something? I mean, I'm curious because I do the same. And it's really, sometimes, you know, and then after a while, after that, you'll think, oh, why didn't I do it? I wish I'd done it. Oh, you know, and so people go, so the first thing they'll go is, well, I don't have the time. I'm busy, I'm traveling, I won't be able to do this. And you think, well, is that really the case? You know, dig deeper, or is it because you're too afraid to start? And if you're too afraid to start, that's fine. But let's talk about it. Let's overcome that fear. Let's do, because if you don't start, you don't overcome that fear of starting something, you will never know. And you will find the time. There is always a little bit of time. I'm always sitting here thinking, well, I won't find the time. I can. And the question is then, you know, and you have then someone who's going to guide you, who's going to help you through it. And that's what you need. You know, you need someone who's then, you know, that's why a lot of coaching programs, a lot of is, okay, you don't want to do this on your own? I get it. I understand that's scary. So why not do it? Take that first step. It's scary. It's coming out of our comfort zone. It is making ourselves vulnerable, right? Suddenly you're faced with your fears. You're faced with, this work is going to be hard. I've got to prepare for a 10-minute talk in English. You know, Shanti's going to expect me to do this. A lot of this writing, I don't have time. I'm starting a project next week. I'm traveling, you know, in the last 2 weeks. I don't have time. Yeah, but next month there will be another thing that will happen. The following month you're on holiday. The next month there'll be another project. There's always going to be a project. You're always going to be busy. You're busy professionals. The thing is, you have to go back and go, well, is this important? Why do I want to do this? How will I feel if I make the effort to do it? You make that effort to do it, and imagine how would you feel at the end of it. Great. For me, I know I would feel good. But it's so hard, isn't it, to keep breaking. You have to keep telling yourself, no, I've got to do this. Talking about career decisions, complete career decision change. Now, Susan mentioned that. You know, that's a big decision, and that's a difficult decision to make. Most of us, you know, some people changed careers very quickly. In fact, I think the younger generation are more inclined to change careers much more quickly than maybe an older generation like mine. And I remember that, you know, as most of you will know, I was in the finance world for over 20 years. And I fell into the career. You know, after university, I just went into it. I didn't sort of have this big, great mission to you know, go into a career in finance, but it happened. And, you know, towards the latter part of my career, I wasn't happy in my job. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't fulfilling me. But I stayed at it. Why? The fear of change, the fear of what if, right? Which is very, very valid fears. But what actually made me change my decision, change my mind, and make me make this career change was an illness, my illness. I was diagnosed with breast cancer over 10 years ago. Now, at that point, no, you're busy then dealing with that. But after 18 months of treatment, when I went back to my career, I realized I was seeing things differently. And a serious illness made me realize, you know, life is too short. I'm sorry about the cliche, but it's true. Life is too short. Time goes too quickly to waste it on not trying to develop myself and do something different. And that's what I did. But that decision was it hard at the time? No, interestingly enough, not when I took it. Before Yes, I procrastinated over it. I came up with all the excuses why it was not possible. I'm too old, I'm this, I'm that. I've been in this career for too long. Who else is going to employ me? I'm not good. And there's so much. And Susan, the fear is always there. What are other people going to think? Yeah. Are you mad? What's going on with you? What's wrong with you? What are you doing? Come on, this is a fantastic opportunity you have, and now you're just throwing it away for what? You know, it's me changing my career and going into teaching. You know, suddenly I'm going from a career that is paying me a lot of money, and then I'm going into teaching, which I didn't even know whether I'd like teaching. It just thought, yeah, I'll try it. Hey, because one thing I was very sure of, and that I decided definitely, was I wasn't going back to my previous career. But I had no idea about the teaching career. I had no idea. So that's that, you know, that walk in, that step into the dark, you know, you're going straight into the abyss. You have no idea. And so you take that first step, and then you start going into it. And then soon enough, I began to like it. Well, you know, I did the course, the training course and training program, and everyone else was so much better than me. And that scared me, because I just thought, oh, I'm clearly not cut out. I don't know. What am I going to do? And, you know, it's just terrible. Oh, Vasiliki, thank you. It's not true. We live every day. We only die once. Okay, we only live once, yes. We only die once, but we live every day. Absolutely, but that means, again, another cliche, we have to make every day count, or at least do something meaningful every day, right? So I remember doing this teaching and thinking, oh my God, everybody else is so much better, and I mean, I just don't know what I'm doing. Then I thought, okay, come on, Shanti, you've got to make this work, you know, because I kept thinking to myself, well, have I made the right decisions? Have I, you know, what's going to happen? And, you know, you take that. I continued, and I started working with some language schools. And then very soon after, I decided, now one of the things that my illness made me realize is I wanted to be in control of my life, or in control of the way I steered my career path. Because one of the things that my illness had taught me was that I couldn't control my body. When you don't have your health, you're not in control, right? And, you know, I have this thing about control, and I wanted to control it. So I think, okay, I can't do that. So here is my chance to do this. I want to control this where I can. So I made that decision. And one of the decisions I made was also to say, I'm going to do this alone. I'm not going to be employed by a language school. I want to be a freelancer. And then eventually the decision was to also run my online business and, you know, just and develop my business that way. It's super hard, and I'm sure all of you know that. It's like running your own business is super hard. There's so many things you have to learn. There are times when it's really tough, and you have to make tough decisions. You begin to question your decision. You wonder why you did it, and but you have to keep believing, right? And so there's a lot there. But I have to say that in the last 8 years since I became a teacher, changed my career, I have to say I have lived more meaningfully. I have, it's a roller coaster of emotions, but you do. So you make those tough decisions, and you make that decision to do it. And then, and there are times when you just think, oh, you know what, maybe I should just go back and do something easier. Maybe everybody else was right, like Susan said. You're afraid about what people think, but you have to believe that I got to try. If I don't try, I will never know whether I was able to do it. And this is what I try and also want to share with my clients. The English that we work on here, we're looking at business English, we're looking at English for work. But a lot of the time when you're saying, I want to develop myself professionally, I want to improve my English, I want to be able to give that talk, I want to be able to write well, the thing is, you've got to put yourself out there. You have to make a decision to get out there and do it and try. And, you know, show yourself as being vulnerable. Show yourself as saying, okay, I'm here. I'm not perfect, but I'm going to try and I'm going to give it a go. And I'm not going to come up with the excuse of, I don't have time. I have a busy project coming up. I don't know where to start. I'm all over the place. Yeah, all of us are. We all are. I get it. I know. But that is not the underlying reason. The underlying reason is because we're too scared. We're too scared to show our vulnerability. But vulnerability is not a weakness. Vulnerability is a strength. Vulnerability is showing that you are capable of saying, yeah, I'm willing to try. And if it doesn't work the first time, I'm going to try again. You know, all the entrepreneurs that we see in business, all the business people, they've all failed once or twice or even 3 times. And the ones that have succeeded have picked themselves up and have continued. So they made that decision to continue. And it's hard. The easiest option is to say, I give up and do something else. But, you know, what I want to encourage is where we encourage our client, you know, where I encourage my clients and I want to encourage you is we're in it together. We all have our vulnerabilities. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our fears. And the fear that you have is very similar to mine, but we have to decide, do I do it? And what is the outcome? Is the outcome that I'm going to be able to do this and feel good about myself? You know, let's take Keiko. Keiko, I hope you don't mind me sharing what you did last week with the writing challenge. You followed the last week's lesson and you decided to do the email writing challenge. And I can't tell you how proud I was of you, because what you did was, I feel, is you took your fear in your hands and you said, well, I'm going to dominate that fear and I'm going to write. You know, you're writing. It's not affecting anybody. You're not being judged. You're going to try it yourself. And I hope by writing and getting the feedback from Susan, from me, and it was that you did it. You are capable. You found your voice in English. You have that way. You were able to do it. You proved it to yourself. You know, it's saying, hey, I tried it. Now, if you could have sat there very quietly and just followed everybody else and go, yeah, this is really good. This is really good. You know, she's coming up with really excellent ideas. And I always get very positive feedback from people who follow me on my posts. Oh, Shanti, I really love it. Great. Then when I say, right, step up, join this program, you know, Shanti, I'm really big. I said, this is it, guys. It can't just stop there. If you are going to truly progress, you have to implement what you do. And if you're not going to do it yourself, then you need to join a program, join a coaching session, join something, a coaching program, where you will be held accountable. Because that's the only way you can do it. Trust me, I'm the same, right? I have many times said, oh, yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do this. Yeah. Then I actually decided I've got to do this because I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not progressing. I need to find a way. So in the end, I decided, oh, okay. I might have come up with the idea of cost. You know, that's my reason is cost. And yeah, and you know, and you just think, no, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. And the moment I did it, the moment I make that decision, it is such a relief of thinking, I did it. Great. I made that decision. Oh, great. Now I'm going to have actually someone who's going to help me to guide me to where I want to go. You know, for example, I have Veronica Palovsko, who's my brand strategist and my web designer. And for ages, I kept thinking, no, I can do this on my own. I can do this on my own. It's going to be too expensive. I can't do this. I can do this on my own when I have time, when I do. In the end, I realized, you know, Shanti, you're never going to go forward if you don't try. Just nip this in the bud. Just take the bull by its horns, another idiomatic expression, make that decision and stick with it and go. Stick with that decision. So off I went and I did it. And I tell you, it's been wonderful because Every time I say, this is what I want to try and do, she'll tell me, this is what you need to do. This is what you have to do. Okay, this is how you do it. And she's steering me to achieve what I want to do. She's listening to me. And it's exactly the same in a coaching program, in a program that any teacher is going to give you, is they're steering you. So make that decision. Is this important? I want to do it. I've got to try and give it to me. What is Susan saying about Keiko? Absolutely. And she showed her very unique and individual personality. And that's what each and every one of us is blessed with. Fortunately, we are all different. Precisely. So everyone is different, and Keiko came up with that, but all the others who joined, Adriana who joined the challenge, and Alessandra, Saba who joined, did the challenges, and it was wonderful. Gabi, you did this, and you made that decision. I'm going to try, I'm going to do it. It's scary, I feel a bit foolish, I make mistakes. Yeah, and I'm number one. I always get angry when I make mistakes. So I totally understand where my clients, their fears are. And we have our voices. And this is what I want to say to you. Making those decisions, whether we're talking about decision making in our businesses, how difficult those decisions are, whether we, whether it's a right decision, whether there's a wrong decision. But the important thing is you make that decision. But you make it also for the right reasons. Maybe a decision you take might not turn out to be the right decision in the end. But if we don't try, we don't know, right? I'm sure we all know this, right? We all know this. And yet we stop ourselves. And I think a lot of it is because we are fearful of trying. We're fearful of showing our vulnerability. And that is the biggest issue, because we can find time. Chio, hello, lovely. I saw you watching. I didn't know whether you joined. I'm so glad you're here. We have to show our vulnerability and then say, okay, if this is important for me, I will take that decision. I'll make that decision, and I'm going to stick with that decision, stick to that decision, and continue. Okay, this was going to be vocabulary about decisions. I think we talked a lot about that, but I think this is very important in when we are talking about ourselves, and when we talk about our businesses, or when we you're making decisions about your business which is going to affect other people. So there are very tough decisions to make, tricky decisions to make, and some people just have to make it, and they have to go, as I say, with their gut instinct. Sometimes you just have to go with your gut instinct. I know, like, for example, some people just can't decide on silly things, where we have too much choice. That's the thing. That's also the problem we have in our society now, is that we have overwhelm. And this is one of the things I was saying about decluttering, I mentioned last week, is when we get access to too much, we have, you're signed up to so many blog posts from English teachers, you listen to millions of podcasts, you watch so many YouTube channels, you're constantly, oh, I'll just pick that one, or I'm just going to learn that one, I'm just going to sign up to this thing, I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to do that. And then what happens is it becomes overwhelmed. You end up with having so much that you don't know what to choose. You cannot decide. I mean, take Netflix. I don't know whether any of you are subscribed to Netflix. Now, the interesting thing is, once upon a time, we had 2 or 3 channels on our television, terrestrial television, right? So 2 or 3 channels, and that was easy. The decision was made for us. What shall we watch tonight? Well, we only had the choice of 3 channels and then some programs, right? Okay, we're just going to watch that. Life was easier. Now we have news items coming in. Netflix has got a plethora of programs and new films coming out. I get notifications. Then I'm on Amazon Prime. So there's Amazon Prime Video. Do you know, every evening my husband sits there flicking through, and he goes, oh, there's nothing on television. I'm thinking, excuse me, come again? What did you just say? Yeah, that's so much, but we can't decide because there's just too much information. So one of the things why we also procrastinate is because we have information overload. So we need to declutter and get rid of all the distractions, get rid of everything that is unnecessary. So following people that you like, you know, look and think, okay, what's important for me? Let's remove all the things that are not important. So I've started looking at unsubscribing to people I haven't been following on my blog post, on blogs. So you know, some bloggers that I haven't read their blog posts for I don't know how many months or even years, remove that. And then, you know, removing YouTube channels that I don't watch because I just don't. Podcasts, people are like, oh, you know, Shanti, you must watch. I'm not going to sign up if I know I'm not going to follow the episodes. There's just no way. I just can't do it. Because I know I'm just, then what happens is you get the guilt trip. I know I should be, but I haven't been doing it. Oh my goodness, I just never have time. There's no time. And so this all comes up. So the thing is, what you have to do is declutter and start thinking what is important. And even if you don't have the time at the moment, just think, okay, let me just do this one thing. Let's do this one thing. And let's see whether I can do it from start to finish and prove myself that I can complete this. And then just do it. Just do it, as the Nike ads tell us. You know, sometimes when we have too much choice, as you say, Vasiliki, the gifts of free will and freedom of thinking are scored by the burden and cost of deciding. Exactly. We just have too much, and then we don't know what to do. It's like when I asked my husband, what would you like to eat tonight? Oh, I don't know. Well, give him a choice. This or this. Okay, I'll take that. Excellent. Done. Done deal. Finished. Oh, no more. You're not getting anything. It's like when I see parents asking their children, so what are you going to have for breakfast? Would you like cereal? Would you like toast? Or would you like muffins? Or would you... My parents didn't give us a choice. You know, it was like, that's it. That's what you're having. And okay, maybe you might say, no, well, that's not right. People should be given the choice. Sure, within reason, as Vasiliki says. Because otherwise, we want the choice. But in the end, what we want is someone to choose for us. It's like the program I'm going to be running, that when I say you choose your own business topic, and I get people going, oh, I don't know what business topic. And then I realize actually people just want their hand held. You want someone to say, okay, what's this? Is this what you want? Right, pick this, take this, and now let's work on this. Oh, thank you, Shanti. So people want the decision taken for them. And so sometimes that's what we got to do. And so we have to, but then, you know, you at the same time, you also are masters of your own destiny or mistresses of your own destiny. So make that decision to declutter, focus on what's important, prove to yourself. So when I get clients saying to me, I'm too busy to do this program, and yet they've been telling me how, you know, they really wanted to do this. They wanted to, you know, do this. Shanti, I think it's an excellent idea. What, oh, business writing to fluency, to, you know, using writing to prepare my 10-minute talk. And yeah, this sounds such an excellent idea. The next thing I know is, it's going to be a tough month next month. You know, I just don't know. So I think, okay, so I'll make it open-ended. I don't set dates. They can do this anytime. Then comes the one, because it's open-ended, I can do it anytime. You're never going to do it. Unless I say, it's starting here, it's starting there. Take it or leave it. Right? Oh, gosh. Okay, some people go, I'll leave it then. I'll do it some other time. All right, fine. Or you can continue doing that, or you can say, look, just do it. Come on. You can do it. This because it's all excuses. And I know it because I do it myself all the time. So I know exactly what's going on in our minds. Susan, too much choice has created our so-called snowflake generation. Yeah, and it is. And all of you. I mean, all of us. And where I've, you know, I've been talking to people about programs, coaching program. Yeah, you know, I really need to do that, Shanti. Yes, I need to. Yeah, I must. You know, such a good idea. I think this is great. Yes, yes. Well, when I have a moment, I will do it, or I'll think about it. And I do the same. And then sometimes I go, listen to yourself, Shanti. I mean, you're doing what you tell your clients not to do. So don't worry. I'm always constantly working on myself to stop doing that. And say, no, take that decision once and for all. Just go for it. Do it. It's like going on holiday, right? Where do we want to go on holiday? They say, oh, well. And the moment I make that decision, the relief of, thank God I made that decision. And what did I do to make that decision? I just decluttered, stopped for a while, sat down, said to myself, what is important? This is important. Let's look at my diary. Yes, I'm going to do this. And let's just do it and not think about it anymore. So decisions, decisions, decisions. Yeah, you can make difficult decisions, tough decisions, easy decisions. You can use your gut instinct and just make that snap decision. We have plenty, right? I like people to not sit on the fence, because some people are going, I'm on the fence, you know, I'm not going to decide. You know, you get those people in business meetings, they're not going to make a decision on something, or they're not going to take a position on something. You know, so you've got those indecisive people that, you know, no, make a decision. You know, you offer your opinion and make a decision on, for example, what side, whose side you're going to be on. So we're looking at business, you know, whose side are you going to win? Are you for or against? You know, you can't just go, oh, I'm just going to be, you know, I'm just going to sit on the fence and just, you know, not do. No. Because even in the business world, in our business skills, we need to show that we are decisive people. We are capable of making decisions. We can make quick decisions, real life and death decisions, or we can, yes, make thoughtful decisions or informed decisions. So we get all the information together, and with that information, we make a decision on that. So once you've had it, then proceed and finish and make a decision. Don't then sit there procrastinating about it. But there are so many companies like that. So many companies, so many businesses, so many of us who are like that. Whether it's on our personal side or professional side. And, you know, it's something that we will never solve, but we can try and minimize or reduce. Yeah, so, you know, this week, I'm going to make a decision to do this. So, you know, you experiment. Okay, I've got this deadline, and that's why people come up with deadlines, right? You have until this to make a decision. All right, let's just do it. Let's do it. Sometimes it's not the right moment. Maybe, I don't know, instinctively it isn't. Or maybe you're not quite sure about something. But then ask, you know, that feedback. When I say, if you're not sure about something, ask for information, ask more questions, ask. Don't just sit there and go, I'm not so sure, but you don't quite know what you're unsure about. Then ask. Just say what you're not sure about. And then maybe the person has the answer, or maybe they will help you find the answer yourself. Susan, the worst and most unhelpful thing to hear is, well, I don't mind. Oh, yes, that one. When you think, oh, I don't mind, and I think, no, please, make up your mind. Oh, no, I'm in two minds, I don't mind. Yeah, and you think, please, take a position. Be forceful. Say. Because that's the thing also with business people. You know, companies and employers want people who have got opinions. Not such strong opinions that they overrule other people or they overrule decisions. But, you know, people who have got strong opinions and who will make informed decisions, stick with their decisions, and then, you know, just and then get on and do the job they have to do, or do, you know, make the decision and do whatever project they set out to do, whether it's developing themselves professionally, personally, whatever. So that's it. We've come to the end of this session. Lots of language there, I hope, that you found. I'm going to be making some tweaks to the post I wrote about vocabulary decisions, and I'll be sharing it in the next few days here on the EWAT Club, so you get to see that, because I just want to make some changes and add a couple of things. In terms of idiomatic expressions you can have for decisions, and what did Vasiliki say? Decisions, disease, deceased. Oh, Vasiliki is wonderful. I can hear this. This is wonderful. So yes, I had some language here, like, for example, sitting on the fence, taking a back seat. Oh, I hate that. When people take a back seat, they're not making decisions. Or decision is up in the air. We haven't come to a decision yet. You know, it's all up in the air. Or you make a decision and you stick to your guns. You stick to your decision. You don't change it. You have an informed decision. So you, based on information, you make an informed decision about something. You know, so for example, you're interested in a particular program, you find out about it, you research it, and then you make an informed decision. Yes, this is a program I want to do. An effective decision, something that will be good, will be effective for whatever particular reason you made that decision. You evaluate decisions, or you can also review decisions, right? And a lot of businesses have to do that. That's just some of the language I wanted to share here, but I know I started talking about others. Now, I want to say thank you so much to all of you who joined. Thank you for deciding, for your decision to join me here on lesson 64 of Wednesdays with EWAT. I'm thrilled you were here. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you, Vasiliki. Thank you, Keiko. Thank you, Chio. Thank you, Gabi. Thank you, Eman. I don't know whether you're still here or you've left or whatever. Whoever's here listening to this, thank you so much for joining and making that decision. As I say, I will be talking a lot more about the business writing to fluency lab tomorrow. I'm looking at how to tell your story, how to talk about that business topic you want to talk about, and how it would help you develop that story in the program that will be starting on the 14th of May. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Tomorrow will be at 10 a.m. So it's going to be a 10 to 15 minute video where I'm going to be talking about that. And then on Friday, I'm going to be talking about why I think why writing is essential in developing your talk, in developing your confidence and the courage for you to speak. And finally, on Saturday, I will be talking about this important time factor, the one where everyone tells me they don't have time, and how you're going to implement this program, how you're going to actually be able to do the program effectively to complete it. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next few days, and I hope you can join me. If you can't join me live, then there will be the recording here on the EWAT Club. And remember, please, if you know anyone who you think would be interested in this EWAT Club, who you think who would benefit from it, please share the group. It is a closed group, so they would have to then answer the questions I've asked, and they have to be eligible to join the group. But otherwise, you can ask them to sign up to englishwithatwist.com and join the email list to get also the blog posts that I send every Friday and the newsletter once a month. Okay, thanks so much to all of you. Thank you for listening for the last hour. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being there. Thank you for deciding to join this class. And I will see you tomorrow or next week for lesson 65 of Wednesdays with EWAT, when we will be tackling the theme of negotiation. Ciao for now, everyone. Take care.